Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field that Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen him down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a meal, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex, but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all, I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it now, I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin, oh man, she got the dump. She got the dumpski, guys. We got that bearish news on the live stream last night, but you guys know we were already looking at the level of resistance that we were very likely to resist. It was kind of the doorway to higher prices, if I'm being honest, guys. That was, I think last night's title was like decision-making time. Bitcoin is at that key level. Breaking above that level could have turned out to be very, very bullish, but that rejection below it would open up the door for a bigger drop to the downside within our volume profile. And here we are, getting that dump down. Pretty crazy. Show us the charts. We'll tell you the news every single time, guys. But we got a lot to talk about today on Bitcoin, guys. Are we going to get the bigger retracement? Are we going to be able to skirt out of this bearish scenario? Is it over for Bitcoin? What is coming next? I'm going to break it all down on tonight's live stream for the CandleMafia. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Servando Estrada in the chat. Said, Frankie, my dude, what is going on, man? Welcome in. Shout out to Gen Z. We got Michael S. Says, everything is on sale today, Mafia. Let's go. Shout out to Michael S. We got Beft up in the chat. Infinite Team TA. Yo, shout out to you, man. You're dropping mad super chats. I guess trying to get the ranking. Do super chats get you extra points for the ranking? Is that how that works? But shout out to Infinite. I appreciate you so much, bro. Thank you for dropping the memberships. Thank you for dropping the super chats. We got Mountain Magnets in the chat. Says, what up, Mafia? What up, Frankie? Shout out to you, man. We got Nirvana in the chat. Crypto Owl, Crypto Anon, Chemistry Bro, guys. Show our mods some love. You guys know who they are. Tyler Durden, Chemistry Bro, Crypto Billy, Rob the Crypto Snob, Crypto Anon. You guys know who they are. Show them some love in the chat. And yeah, let's go. We got a lot to talk about today, guys. Let me just see. Good evening, Regular Guy Trades. What is going on? Thank you to all in here. Yo, shout out to Regular Guy Trades. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Justin officially passed the Genius Act crypto stablecoin bill. Okay, that took a long time. They were it was supposed to be like decided, I think, a lot earlier, and it wound up taking much longer. But there we go. That is bullish news, at least over the long term. Obviously, I don't think this. We'll see how that winds up playing out. Obviously, very bullish for crypto overall. Is that going to give us a short-term bounce, or do we still have a little bit to bleed out, guys? I'm going to break down the charts for you. We looked at the money flow, was able to call the move yesterday. Let's see if we can do it again today. Shout out to the Mafia. Smash that like button if you have not already. If you appreciate the free content, go ahead and touch that like button. We don't care what you do. We don't look. We don't judge. You can lick it, kiss it, touch it with your butt. We don't care. Just smash that like button. If we get 1,000 likes, we will be giving away $150 in Solana to one lucky CandleMafia member on Friday's live stream. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, so here we are, Mafia. I don't know. Wait, shout out to Crypto Owl says, I don't know why I'm here. Poll has me dying. Oh, God, what's the poll say? Shout out to Tony D. Tony D putting up these diabolical polls. Is Bitcoin in trouble? Nah. The weak are getting shaken out. Yes, I sold my bags. Yes, but I hodl. Yes, but I'm hodling. I don't know. That's why I'm here. 46% of everybody says, nah, the weak are getting shaken out, guys. Oh, God, the thunder is clapping right now, guys. Oh, God. Bitcoin. I should dim the lights. Bitcoin going to zero. I'm just kidding, guys. Overall, obviously, as you guys know, even with that dump to the downside yesterday, although we did short here at pretty much the tippy top, still overall bullish on Bitcoin here, even if we have to get those bigger retracements. I'm not going to go over that too much because I've covered it in every single live stream. But let me go ahead here and pull up the trade. Obviously, still holding that short position. I am now also holding a scalp long position from a local golden pocket retracement. I have a tight stop on this. I don't know if it's going to get stopped out. If it gets stopped out, that short will obviously continue to run. You guys can see literally like the entry there, the invalidation right above that 786 that we rejected yesterday. And we came up, kissed that 786, protected the stop loss, and got that dump to the downside, up about $3,000, a little over $3,000 on that trade right now. Got a little bit of money locked in, but I am going to hold this in case we do get the bigger correction down. And I do have a scalp long open here, obviously, on Femex, because Bitcoin does like to, especially recently, we've kind of been getting these, he's kind of like weird sideways ranges, with, overall just kind of trending to the upside, kind of a little bit similar to this area down here. So I was being a little bit more aggressive with that long position. Is in profit right now, but we'll see what happens with that. But as you guys can see, even when price goes down, even when we get bearish news, those signs are on the chart. These were the key levels we were looking at yesterday and in the Discord much earlier than that, looking for those short positions above the value area high, looking to potentially get accepted back into that range. This is what we were looking at last night. We got stuck inside that value area high. At that point, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that point of control, exactly as we looked at, guys. And not only that, but we also saw the 4-hour red dot and 15-minute money flow crossover into the red. Indeed, give us that continuation. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the thunder is cracking right now. That 15-minute money flow crossover, guys, absolutely beautiful, beautiful signal. We were talking about if we were going to get that continuation down, reject that value area high, watch that 15-minute money flow crossover. It might be able to indicate the continuation of that overall downtrend, and you can see we just got that aggressive dump. Where? Directly into that point of control where we are currently getting a little bit of support here, guys. And to be honest, within the volume profile, the next main target is obviously, if you saw that market update that I dropped a little while ago, you will know that the daily value area low sitting right down here is another big key level of support. I would say this is somewhat of the line in the sand to protect us from maybe avoiding the drop down to $97,000 because, Bitcoin has been in a bit of a difficult situation, guys. We had looked at that macro 786 last week saying, hey, if we put in the lower high here, it could indicate that we are going to continue a downtrend. And then yesterday, we were creeping back up towards that level. Were we going to escape? And then we got the rejection directly from the local 786, pushing us back down. So I will say the doorway is still open here to continue cracking this low and this low down here, breaking us down towards about $100,000, where we have another key level of support, obviously sitting at $100,000. Just the general psychological number of 100,000 is probably going to be a level that we may be able to get a reaction off of. But on top of that, we also do have the anchored VWAP, which I thought was in this folder. Let me go ahead and redraw this real quick. We do have the anchored VWAP pulled from the absolute low of the downtrend here, coming right in confluence with that golden pocket. We also have a daily MPOC down here at about $99,500. So we do have some confluence down here in case we do want to come and sweep those lows one more time. And again, rejecting that 786 does keep the door open, because if we are going to anticipate, even on a higher time frame here, guys, I want to be very clear, right? The reason that 786 was so important was because if we were going to put in a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low, continuing that downtrend, breaking structure to the downside, right, that golden pocket 786 was the area to do it at. We tried to get out of it yesterday, and we just couldn't do it. And, you know, I would say the same thing as last week. If we close this weekly candle below this 786, you know, it would just look like a higher time frame rejection. And then obviously yesterday we were looking at even the local 786, because we were also in a local downtrend here with the high, the low, the potential lower high, potentially looking for that lower low. And obviously that 786 was the exact level that we rejected. And I always say, show us the charts, we'll tell you the news every single time, guys. We did not know that there was going to be bearish news up here. Was in the short before we even got that news, and we did get back in, and then, you know, fill in the blank here, whatever that news catalyst is going to be. Typically, the sign is on the chart. It's very rare, although not, you know, not that it never happens, but it is very rare where we're looking for longs and then you get bearish news and it steps on it, right? More often than not, the technical signals are popping up on the chart, and then, you know, funny enough, either the bullish news comes out or the bearish news comes out. Obviously, there's random, you know, shocking news that no one knows about, even when it is shocking, right? Like, you know, it usually does line up with our direction, but, you know, obviously it's not 100% of the time. Sometimes you will just get it wrong, but more often than not, this is why I pay attention to the charts. A lot of people will be like, yeah, but what happens if the news, what if you're trading the charts, you know, it's all about the news, right? Well, more often than not, like I said, the charts will not only, they'll literally fortune tell the news for you, which is absolutely insane to me. It's part of the reason why I love TA so much. It's just like, I don't know, it's just so cool. And, you know, it's also beautiful to be able to make money even when price goes down, right? And even yesterday, guys, I talked about how we had the long setup from down here, and I was unable to get into my position there. It happened late at night. But again, not tripping over those moves. You might miss the long, but you can always catch that short to the downside. There's always another opportunity on the chart. So if you're learning how to trade, do not chase moves. I even said yesterday, there's no reality where I am longing up here directly into resistance. You have to be looking for shorts. Doesn't mean you have to take one, but if we're pumping, right, there's only one trade that I can look for at that exact, you know, as you're pushing up is shorts. Until we come back down, you know, you want to be longing when candles come down and shorting when candles come up. I know it sounds, Frankie, that's crazy. The trend is your friend. But again, market structure is going to be king. You know, the market moves in ebbs and flows, right? But with that being said, guys, overall, this is still the main volume profile I'm watching. Key level of support, the next major level is going to be the value area low / daily level between about 102,639 and 101,487. I would say, you know, could you come back down here if we are going to fill that volume profile in full? You get above the low, get into the POC, flip the POC, you look to go to the high, deviation above, back in, back to the POC, almost hit the low there, just barely front ran it, back up, deviate above the high, back down to the POC. If we lose that POC, this is the biggest level of support locally. So if we do come down there, we can be looking for bullish confirmations. I will be looking for a bounce here. If we can reclaim value area low, maybe we just have to kind of come up and fill the range again. However, with the higher time frame kind of situation, rejecting the 786, market structure in general, I would say the doorway is definitely open here to take the lows, guys. You know, we've kind of been trying to decide, you know, long term, even if we have to get those bigger retracements down to our macro value area, which we are now living inside of, by the way. I'm going to talk about these massive, massive levels of resistance above us, and, you know, which is nice, right? Or not nice, but, you know, massive levels of resistance. But the nice thing about that is we know that if we can flip some of these levels, it might be able to get us on out of here. And, you know, yesterday I talked about, you know, guys, are we going to get this thing to just, you know, squeak on out of here, or are we going to have to go for that bigger retracement? And I'll say, like, still the same thing as yesterday. I am a little bit short term. I'm a little bit iffy, right? I'm a little bit kind of, you know, I'm paying attention to the bullish case, the bearish case, and obviously I'm holding the long and the short, so I'm covered in both directions. If the long plays out in a really big way and we do wind up skirting on out of here, I will stop out of the short in profit, and then that long position will continue to pay me out, winning both of those trades. Short's already guaranteed with money locked in, stop loss at break even, so I can't lose that trade literally. But if the long plays out, we'll also be able to continue profiting on that continuation to the upside. But I will say, on top of the fact that we did reject all those 786s, we also finally got the weekly red dot to print here, which we have been waiting for quite some time. It just did not want to print. Now, this is not confirmed just yet. If we just kind of like rip out of here in like a, you know, maybe we get some more bullish news, right? You guys could see how fast things can change with a single tweet. If we get some like crazy bullish news or something and we scam out of here for some reason, you know, this could disappear. But right now, that weekly red dot is printing. We also have the fresh new daily red dot printing with the 90-minute money flow crossover into the red. So again, It's kind of the same situation that we look at on every 90-minute money flow crossover. When it is specifically in confluence with the daily red dot, you look for that 90-minute money flow crossover. Continuation of the trend is likely to the downside, right? Same thing with the 15-minute. That's how we were able to identify the continuation down here. We also have that 90-minute money flow as well. So there are some bearish signs on market cipher B. We are rejecting the macro 786. We really, last night, guys, decision time indeed. We really needed to get above there. But unfortunately, it doesn't mean that technically we could just scoot up there, but, the further we get, the less likely it becomes, right? So I am still open to the idea. It's not completely over just yet. Technically, we are continuing local higher lows here. But it is... Yeah, I don't know. Like, we've been waiting for a potential bigger correction, and it does, we had to wait a little longer. We got that last little scam up, but, I am short from the top, and now if this is the bottom, we're long from the bottom. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Key level of support, obviously going to be that value area low locally, and then if we lose that value area low, we are going to be looking down towards that golden pocket, daily naked point of control, anchored VWAP, sitting between, let me grab the actual numbers for you here, sitting between about $100,000 and $98,729. We start losing that anchored VWAP, that is where I personally think that open door is to come down to the POC of the range around $97,000. And I know this is a level that we talk about all the time, and I know that would be a very scary drop. A lot of people would not enjoy that. I know that for a fact. We'll be short from the top in the Discord, so we'll be able to make money. The CandleMafia makes money whether price goes up or down, but even if we do get that pullback to 97K, guys, even lower, right? Even if we, when we look at our volume profiles, right, you want to keep an eye on your, let me just drag these into the macro range. When we look at this, right, local volume profile is the valid range that we're in right now. So we lose the value POC. We're looking to go to the value area low, start losing those levels, right? We're going to turn that local range off because if we impulse out of that range, it is no longer valid, right? But this might be undervalued. We might get bullish confirmations. But if not, with the bearish market structure, with the weekly red dot, etc., daily red dot money flow crossover into the red in the 90 minute. Again, we have a kind of honorary mention of 100K. But once we lose that, right, we're just going to simply say, hey, we have now impulsed out of this range, right? We are no longer inside of our balanced area. So we turn off that volume profile and we pull up the larger volume profile. And it's like, well, hey, at that point, what is going on here? We've gotten back inside our macro value area high. If we continue that downtrend, it's like, well, hey, the next major target in this profile, especially if we lose that local value area low sitting right here in this daily, more specifically at about 101,000. At that point, right, sure, you have 100K underneath you, but it's like, well, now you're within your profile. Are you going to fill that all the way down to 97K? It is definitely in the cards. If we lose, I would say about, technically you have to lose 100K, but I would say, like, even breaking down below this range would, more and more point towards that correction towards $97,000. Now, I am not just going to wait for $97,000. We might not get it, right? We have to assess the price action as it develops. We could easily do something like this. We break in, bears retest, and then we skirt on out of there. There usually are signs if that is going to happen, but that is just what I'm looking at in the long term, right? If you're not someone who's looking at the charts every single day and you just want the big targets, 100K would be next. Below that, 97K. Underneath that, I'll probably be looking closer to $94,000 to $90,000. And the reason for that is because we have a daily MPOC sitting down here at about 94K. There's not a ton of confluence on this level. I would probably prefer the value area low, but again, we're not promised our key levels to get hit. But within the profile, POC sits at 97K. Value area low, daily MPOC sits between 91.5 and about $90,000. So these are like really the gigantic levels of resistance or support on the way down. And if you start losing this anchored VWAP, guys, this would be a very big level, especially because it's in line with $100,000. If we want to stay in this bigger uptrend aggressively, right, that anchored VWAP is going to be huge. Once you lose that anchored VWAP, it's like, well, hey, probably headed down towards these lower levels. But I'm not calling for, $90,000 just yet. I just want you guys to be aware that this is in the cards, right, based off the higher time frame 786 rejections and everything I just talked about on Market Cipher B. And I would say, like, Market Cipher B is still a little bit kind of confusing here, right? Your 2-day money flow is still in the green here. VWAP is trying to roll over. There are some mixed signals, and this is why I'm playing it level to level, right? We see the signals, we take the trades. If we don't, then we sit them out and we hold the trades that we're already in profit on, right? So yeah, those are pretty much the key levels here, guys. And, one bad tweet can really send this thing down. And, on the flip side, bullish news can send us on the way up as well. But again, the charts are the truth every single time. See what this weekly red dot can give us. And again, it's not just a weekly red dot. It is also a bearish divergence. Higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves. typically does give us some kind of a pullback, right? And that $97,000 level is going to be huge. And then obviously 100K. And when we pull up our bigger kind of long-term chart that I pulled up yesterday on the live stream, you guys will know that we do have the bull market support band that if we do get the bigger drop down, this is very likely right now sitting at about $96,000. But if we start pulling back even more, right, we do understand that this anchored VWAP, this bull market support band is going to kind of ride to the upside. So this could also come in as some nice support as we work our way down, and it could be confluent with that $98,000 to $97,000 point of control of this range, which would be some really, 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 really nice confluence. And then, once if we start losing the bull market support band, obviously it doesn't mean instant bear market. A lot of people think as soon as you lose this, you're going into a bear market. It is not the case. Money flow is always king, right? Money flow goes into the red, deviate below the support band, reclaim it, monthly green dot, 2-day money flow crossover, massive signal for all-time highs. So even if we had to come down lower, we could still see these higher time frame signals end up playing and giving us that big move to the upside. I am still overall bullish on Bitcoin. I don't care if we get a bigger pullback. I know it could get pretty confusing. It's like, well, you're short. Like, doesn't that mean you're bearish? But not necessarily, right? I am a trader. I trade level to level. I trade the local market structure. So, context is always going to be king. Even if we got the bigger pullback, I am still bullish on Bitcoin. Rate cuts, if we get rate cuts at some point, maybe in September, this can very likely send things into an absolute frenzy. And maybe finally retail will come back. Finally, the altcoins will get their day to shine. Obviously, this has been a Bitcoin focus cycle, but it typically is, guys. Almost, every single cycle that we have, Bitcoin runs up. It's not until the end of the cycle where you really start to see those altcoins go. And like I said yesterday, be careful when those altcoins start to run, right? Because that is when everybody's going to start calling for crazy price targets. And typically at that point is when Bitcoin is nearing the top. But there should be still some fun to be had with the altcoins. Bullish on BTC. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. Let's go, baby. Let's go. 102K gonna hold. Shout out to JP. We trade level to level, fam. Shout out to New Earth. Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny. It's like it's so hard, right? Because I could say, people see I'm short and they're like, this guy thinks Bitcoin's going to zero. Not usually the case, right? I don't believe Bitcoin will ever go to zero. Unless we had something crazy happen, right? Comes out that Diddy is Satoshi or something. I don't know. I don't even know if that would, there would just be mad meme coins that go off about that. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Vegas Claw. What is going on, bro? Let's see. Okay, shout out to Pose says, Frankie, SOS question. You say sometimes you take a scalp short, but keep your longs open at the same time. I tried to keep my long and put a short in, and it's not possible. What am I doing wrong? So shout out to Pose. There is a setting. If you go into your settings, I don't know if you tried to say you were on Bybit. I don't use Bybit, so I don't know where the cogwheel is. But if you just go into your settings, they're really like almost on every exchange. I know on Blowfin and Femex, 100%, they both have this. There is a setting that once you click in there, you go to position mode, and it should say either one way or hedged. And you have to make sure it's by default one way, which means that if you try to short while you're in a long, it's going to affect your current trade, right? If you put it in hedge mode, it will allow you to open a long and a short on the same exact asset at the same exact time, like you see here on my trades, right? So short on Bitcoin, long on Bitcoin, but I'm on hedge mode, right? Allowing me to take both of those positions at the same time. If not, right, it's gonna me opening the short would have affected my me opening the long here would have affected my short, right? So you want to make sure you're on hedge mode. That's probably the issue that you're having. If you're on Bybit, I don't know exactly where that setting is, but it should just be like the settings wheel. Wherever the settings wheel is, you should be able to find it. So hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Trey Flip said, Frankie said Diddy is Satoshi. You heard it here first. Shout out to Trey Flip. That'd be insane. Let's see. Shout out to Hugo, said some guy on crypto Twitter talking about crab phase for BTC. I mean, listen, I assume he's probably just talking about like the opportunity to just continue wiggling sideways. It is funny, right? Everybody always talks about pump or dump, right? But oftentimes, right, I know, you might have dumps and pumps, right? Dump, pump, dump, pump, dump, pump, right? But sometimes Bitcoin does just go into crab mode, right? We're just kind of wiggle sideways for a while. And that's kind of, in my opinion, the most brutal time for Bitcoin. Nice for the trades, but brutal for the content, right? It's like when Bitcoin just goes straight sideways like this, I'll never forget this. This was so brutal for content. It's like every day coming up here and being like, I don't know, guys. Same thing as yesterday. We're just at that POC money flow coming out. Looks like we could break down, but it's like, is it going to break down? Oh, I thought it was going to break. Nope. And then you wind up just sitting sideways for, a long time. It's absolutely brutal for the content. But, another thing to kind of realize here, guys, is we did this recently, like, when you go to the summers, right, a lot of times you do kind of get like that choppy action, just that like sideways kind of gross price action during the summer. Probably because people have other things to do during the summer other than sit on the charts and look at them 24/7 like I do, or some of you guys might do. But, you know, sometimes we do see kind of like just like boring sideways price action. Like, I like even here, right? Like, I know this was like pretty volatile, like, I don't know if I say locally, it's like pretty volatile, but like for the most part, right? Like if you zoom out, right, it's just like, you know, we come up here in March, April, and then you come into the summer. It's just kind of like a sideways grind. I know that August 4th dump was pretty crazy. I know the July 4th dump was pretty crazy, but for the most part, right, you just kind of chop sideways. And like, you know, it is possible to see something like that happen, right? Maybe we just kind of bing bong around in this range a little bit until we come out, right? And again, you know, even if we did come back all the way back down to the bottom of this range, like you are still potentially set up for new all-time highs in my own personal opinion, right? It's not until we start losing like the low 80s where I am saying like, hey, we're probably going to come take this low at 75K and then potentially break down, you know, I don't even want to bring this up, but, you know, we obviously have the big old range down here that we can look at for context in case, you know, we do start breaking those key levels coming in here. That would be pretty brutal, right? Maybe Black Swan. I don't know. I don't know. That's really, really far in the future. I don't think we're going to come down there tomorrow or today or even like a few weeks from now. It's going to take a long time to get down there if we do go for it. But, you know, at that point, we'll assess the price action. And, you know, if it's looking like a nice bottom's coming in, we'll know. If it looks like it's going to zero, we'll probably know. Even before the news comes in. Let's see. That sideways has lower lows. We have higher lows. Shout out to Hugo's. Yes. That would, you know, again, I would kind of just in general call this consolidation, like big liquidation run, right? And then you just break out. But yeah, I mean, I would say like this kind of sideways consolidation that we have here locally. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely, yeah, like what was our 2-day money flow doing back here, right? Like 2-day money flow was, we were ranging around, 2-day money flow was coming into the red, right? That would anticipate that you were probably going to continue your trend to the downside. And let's not get it twisted, right? Like this is obviously, you know, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. But for the most part, right, over the long term, it's kind of just sideways. But yeah, here we have 2-day money flow crossing over into the green. So I would argue, you know, if money flow wise, you're closer to like kind of this area, right? Rather than you know, having a fresh green money flow crossover into the red, which, you know, could wind up happening here soon. But we'll see. We'll see if we get that 2-day green dot. We print that 2-day green dot. This money flow could skirt right back to the upside. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. I got kicked out of Coinbase for no reason. They just automatically deposited my money to my linked bank account, and they just said like, get out, don't come back. Shout out to JP. JP's crushing the trades. They're like, get this guy out of here. No, I don't know. That's pretty crazy. I want all-time high by Friday. Shout out to JP, guys. I am really not in a situation where, you know, I typically will be like, you know, not likely or very likely. I'll be honest. Like, I think if something's going to happen here to the upside, I think it would be like a shocking pump to the upside, but shocking as in it'll kind of come out of nowhere. I won't be shocked personally, right? Like this is a very, very interesting time for Bitcoin. I said this yesterday, even in the premium Discord, talking about how, you know, we are in a very, very tricky spot on Bitcoin, right? Especially when it comes to the trades. Like even the confirmation signals for the long positions have been like somewhat like front running. Like we've been front running key levels, SFPing, sending it back up, then dumping it back to the downside. Every time Bitcoin looks super bullish, like we just wind up getting a tweet to slam it back down. But yeah, you know, it's not that bad because we can make money on those way down, obviously. But let's see. Shout out to Loki. Yeah, we could have some good news come out of the global conflict situation there. That could be a black swan or a bullish black swan. Some people would call those white swans, but a white swan would just be a swan. But yeah, it could be like a bullish, we can call it a black goose maybe, for a bullish black swan. Shout out to D Knight, said alt season tomorrow, not financial advice. Shout out to D Knight. I hope so. We'll take a look at some of the altcoins here in a minute. Let's see. It really is hard being so new still. Yeah, shout out to Dawn. You know, again, I do think, right, like I always say, like I'm more bullish on Bitcoin, you know, medium to longer term. I think a lot of people, right, I think patience is what is going to be tested here. I know everyone's getting super fed up with the altcoins, but just understand things change very, 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 very quickly. Like even when we saw the alts run in December, if I pull up XRP even, because XRP just had like this crazy rip to the upside. You know, this comes out of nowhere. And, like, this was so reminiscent of, like, like, it's just so funny. Like, we get these massive moves to the upside. And we saw all these volume profiles on the way up, anticipating this to be a doorway to higher prices into the value area high and beyond. And it's funny because, like, then my phone starts ringing off the hook once we get up here, and people are like, should I buy XRP? My personal friends and family, should I buy XRP? It's ripping. I'm going to sell all my altcoins and buy XRP because it's moving. But yeah, like, things change very, very quickly, right? When things go, they absolutely go. But I do want to take a look at the altcoins here, but I just want to make sure you guys understand these key levels. $98 to $97,000 is the big target within this major volume profile. $100,000 with the golden pocket anchored VWAP zone right here. And again, that POC is also confluent with the 786 of the same fib pulse. So again, if we don't get the bounce off 100K, maybe you get a little intraday bounce or something like that. Once you lose that golden pocket, you're anticipating that 786 anyway. So I would say this is the bigger target, but this is also a very, very important support level that we have to watch. Maybe we sweep the lows finally. We finally sweep 100K, which is what I was expecting here, and we front ran it by like $300. Maybe we sweep into here, and then we get the move to the upside. But if we lose it, 97K is definitely going to be the bigger target to the downside. And then if we lose that, we'll cover those lower levels when we get there, right? And then to the upside, I want to cover some of these local levels as well, right? If we do get a retracement to the upside here, guys, I do just want to point out some of these local levels I'll be watching. I'm going to get rid of this MPOC, because they are tapped. But what I will say here is I'm even going to take this last resistance zone off. This is where we rejected yesterday, obviously. Took the short from there. But if we pull our local from the most current high all the way to the most current swing low that we just made, right, we do have the 786 value area high perfectly confluent there, and I would also drag this all the way down to the golden pocket. So if we go for more of a significant full golden pocket 786 retracement, right, hold on top of this POC, this is pretty much, we barely front ran this value area low, but when you pull up like the 4 hour, you guys can see that POC is essentially where we got that support, right? So if we see something similar and we get that retracement, I will be looking up towards the golden pocket 786, which is sitting right here between $106,800 and $107,885. It is not just the 786 golden pocket. It's not just the value area high. This is also a we also have some other key levels in here as well. And then more locally, right? If we get the full retracement, that's what I'll be looking at. Plain and simple. 107,885 to 106,812. If we get that push to the upside, this is probably going to be a big place. I will either be looking to close my entire long, depending on what it looks like up there, or I will potentially be looking to take partial profits. And then more locally, we have a lot of confluence here, guys. We got to be aware of the macro value area high. I am honestly sick of talking about this level, guys. We have played around with this level so many times. Typically, getting stuck under this level would call for a drop down towards the POC, and we just keep reclaiming getting the move up, right? Reclaiming getting the move up, but we are making lower highs here. Don't forget that, right? This is why that doorway to the lower 97K to 100K is still open. But, this is a huge level, $105,742. This is also confluent with some of our local volume profiles. We have a local profile pulled from all the way back here in January. That value area high sits up there as well. We also have this anchored VWAP. So, really, I would say, obviously point of control here at 105K, but if you can get above 105.7, that would be a good indication we're going to go for that full golden pocket retracement that I just talked about. And then it's honestly not really until we break above that bigger, that 786 and this value area high that I would be looking for a much bigger move up, right? Like, I would say the first kind of sign that we would potentially be looking for a big move up or a potential skirt out of this more bearish scenario, right? We were going to maybe just squeak on off to all-time highs. You got to get above this 786. You got to get above this value area high. And, arguably, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like really the resistance is between 111 and 112K. Like, the all-time high is kind of the resistance, right? So if we do skirt on out of there, right, this would be nice. But again, anytime we come out of a volume profile like this, it is an area that we're going to be looking for shorts. But if the short is going to continue to play out, if this downtrend is going to continue, high, low, lower high, if we are going to get that, I think this is the zone to look at. Once we break above that 786, yeah, I would say, you're above the local value area high. You're above the macro value area high. It would be a good sign, but again, just like here, it does not mean that you're guaranteed all-time highs. You got to watch that key resistance above, which wound up being the direct top here. So, we'll keep you guys updated if we do get up there. But I just want you guys to be aware of those local levels, right? So, yeah, that is pretty much my thoughts on Bitcoin here, guys. We'll watch how that daily red dot winds up. This is probably going to confirm here, obviously. We got about an hour and 40 minutes to confirm that red dot. I would still be watching that 90-minute money flow crossover. Maybe we get the little continuation up, but, never forget those 90-minute money flow crossovers and how strong they can be at, indicating the continuation of that downtrend. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Bills fam says also have 10K XRP. Let's go, baby. Let's go. ETH is still number 2. Shout out to JP. The Godfather's in the chat, guys. Show the Godfather some love. You don't want to disrespect the Godfather. Trust me. I can't tell you what's going to happen if you don't, but I would respect him. This is the high. BTC will not go to 200K or what all the YouTubers are saying. Shout out to the Godfather. I would say, I wouldn't say there's a reason to call for that yet. I mean, maybe if we get rate cuts and we don't pump, I mean, then that would just be something we've never seen. Could it happen? Absolutely. I mean, we do have the weekly bear div. Something that we've covered recently is the fact that, a lot of people are talking about how this, right? We've talked about this as well, right? How like this formation, I showed this yesterday, right? Looks very, 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 very similar to this, right? Almost the same exact structure. However, right, this doesn't mean that it has to be the top for the all-time high. It could just be like a topping structure. Doesn't have to be like the all-time high, right? It could just indicate some kind of a top before continuing up to higher prices. But at the end of the day, you do have the weekly bear div. Yeah, I mean, pullback definitely not impossible. But I just do think, rate cuts, man. You get rate cuts. I don't know. I am not necessarily, I am definitely in the camp of more conservative price targets, to be honest. I've talked about this recently as well. I'm not just saying that XRP will go to $200,000. I am more in the camp of between 120 and 137K being like the first really, really, really big target if we do get another big blow off top. That is probably where, people are going to start calling for those crazy numbers. And I am just not in the camp of like being able to say, hey guys, we're definitely going up to, right here it is, right? If we break out, doorway to 120K is open, and then above that 137K. If we pull up the bigger targets here, you can see my next major bull market target. Number 1 target has been hit, right? That'd be really lackluster for a Bitcoin bull market, right? To break the all-time high by 60%, come on into target 1 and then just reject from here. Is it impossible? No. But if we could stay up here and get that next big breakout, I am more in the camp of this being a very, very significant level. If it looks really good up here, we'll look up to our next target between 155 and 175K. And then we just play it level to level, right? It's impossible for anybody to say Bitcoin is going to 200K, right? Like that's impossible. I can't even say Bitcoin is going to 137K, right? But if the all-time high comes in, right, we get a new all-time high, FOMO comes in, this is probably going to be the next place that we stop, in my opinion. And then again, if it looks like it's the top here, I'm definitely not going to be holding on to my Bitcoin for 200K if it looks bearish. But yeah, I mean, we do have high time frame bearish confirmations, but yeah, I don't know. Like it would be really, really, really brutal, right? To get a big dump and then have rate cuts come in and then it sends it to the upside. Everyone gets scammed out of their bag at the worst time possible, right? But we'll see. Can't say it's impossible. In either direction, honestly. 120K July, 200K September, October. Shout out to Hugo's. I hope so. Let's see. Shout out to Darren says, with institutional demand, I see cycle extending or bear market shortening. Shout out to Darren. I think, we can definitely see things change slightly. Every cycle has its little quirks. At some point, the cycle is going to change drastically, but I'm more in the camp of like it changing slowly over time, like that, right? Like maybe we see, maybe it extends a little bit, and then bear market gets a little bit shorter. But what I try to avoid, right? Because it's I've been through, this is my 3rd cycle, right? Just trying to refrain from just getting stuck in the up only. Oh my God, this is the golden bull run. No, we're never coming back down ever. That is the kind of sentiment you want to avoid. Obviously, Darren, I know you know that. But yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Bull run 2016 is 518 days to the all-time high. 2020, 540 days to the all-time high. Bull run 2024, we're just in the 500 days. And that is the if this is the all-time high. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to it's gone. Shout out to Pose. Let's see. Yeah. Shout out to Mr. B said retail ain't making money in crypto anymore. Yeah. They all funnel into the altcoins. But again, right? Like I think funneling into the altcoins too early can get, going too aggressive in the altcoins too early can be very dangerous, right? Because we usually don't see them explode until the end of the cycle. So we'll see. Hopefully, if it is the top, beautiful Bitcoin gains. Altcoins, not so much. Luckily, my bag is much more heavily leaned towards Bitcoin and higher market cap altcoins, which have been okay for the most part, other than ETH. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to Rap Look, said, Frankie, can you talk about the Discord group, please? Shout out to Rap Look. I love the Discord group. No, I'm kidding. I assume you want to know what we do in there. It is not a signals group. It is never meant to be a signals group. I don't tell you, buy here, exactly put your stop loss here, and there's a very specific reason for that. I am a true believer that signals will never work. Basically, what I do is I give spoon-fed trade setups, right? Actually, if I pull up the, I could actually just kind of show you guys, right? Let me see. Let me come on down to a lower time frame here. I'll come down to like the 30-minute, and I'll just pull up the short position here, right? So I could probably pull up the post as well, but essentially what I do here is I will pull up the key levels. I could actually probably just show the post in the Discord. Let me pull up the my face cam so I don't leak anything secret. That would not be fair for the people who pay, but I'll try to find like the recent setup here. Where we at? Bada boom, bada bing, right? So let me pull this up real quick, right? So I'll just show like an example of like this last short position. Bada boom, right? So basically what I do is I usually have the preset trade positions, right? Like where I am looking for my next short position, right? We have this golden pocket and 786, which were the two areas where we were looking for a short. And I kind of explained to the Discord, like, if you want to take a short here with your stop loss above the 786, a little bit of a bigger stop loss, that's, again, I never tell you exactly where to set your stop loss because I don't know what your personal trading plan is. Are you just looking to get into a scalp? Are you looking for it to play out in full? And depending on your entry, your stop loss is going to be different, your position size, all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, basically what I do is I say, well, hey, if we get up here and we're going to be looking for these signals, if I see these signals, this is the area I'm going to be looking for the short, right? For me personally, we were talking about, we came up to the golden pocket. I actually did take a scalp short on that. Played out nicely at first and then stopped us out. And then we just looked up towards that next 786, right? Because that stop loss invalidation above that 786. If we break that 786, we were looking for all-time highs. So if you get above that 786, you're going to want to get out of the short position. And I talk about like the exact kind of confirmations that I like to look for. I could try to find like another one here as well. Like here's one. It's like an if this, then that, right? Like, so this setup will be sitting on the chart, and I'll say, hey, if we get down to this level and we see these exact confirmations, like this is typically what I'm going to be looking for to enter the trade. This is where I'm personally looking to take it. And I really break everything down, right? I really try to drop some serious detail in here on exactly what I'm thinking. Is it a beautiful setup? Is it kind of a lackluster setup? Am I looking for it to turn into a swing long, etc.? And that's basically what we do, right? We have those key levels set ahead of time. Hey, if we come down here and then we see these X confirmations, that's where we're looking for the bounces. And last one, the short position. I guess technically the first short didn't play out, but yeah, there it is, right? We took that first short, came down, and then it stopped us out. But then we had obviously the invalidation above the 786. So I personally took another short up there because I personally like to take kind of a tactical sharp sniper entry, get stopped out for a very small loss, and then just look to re-enter at that next level. But yeah, that's basically what we do there. And we just kind of, so it's not a signals group. I know people like, aren't those signals? Like, no, I'm not telling you where to buy or sell. I'm just sharing with you my spoon-fed trade setups and what I look to take the trades. And you kind of trade alongside me. And then we do live streams. It's super educational. I teach you guys all about order flow and all that good stuff and, what I actually look for to get in and out of trades, how I manage them, etc. My goal is to turn you from someone who does not know how to trade at all to actually become a profitable trader and learn how to make money consistently over time, not just gamble, not, oh my God, guys, we're bouncing 100x long right now. That'll never work. You're going to lose money every single time. It takes time to learn this skill. And I pride myself on seeing people in the Discord actually making progress. We have live streams. They're much more intimate. I answer pretty much all the questions. There's much less people in there, obviously, because it's paid. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the kitchen. And yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. If you want to get a little bit of a free taste, by the way, I kind of haven't talked about this in a while, but we also, in our free Discord, we have the dining room here. If you sign up with any of our exchange affiliates, you will get access to the dining room where we do leak one premium post per week. So, sometimes it's TA, sometimes it's a setup. So if you wanted to check it out for free, you can come on into the Discord and click unlock access and read through these directions to get in. And yeah, you'll just get, and that's infinite, right? It'll just last forever. You'll get one post a week instead of what we do in here, which is every single day. But there you go. Let's continue on here. Thank you so much. Shout out to Rap Look. Yes, I just have to be very clear. Not a signals group. I will never run a signals group. They just don't work, right? Copy trading does not work. In my opinion. The kitchen is fire. Shout out to Johnny December. Let's go. He's always dropping the palm tree emojis in there. Let's get it. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on, guys. And I'll just hide this short position. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I am shalong right now, short and long at the same time. But overall in the profile, even if we do get a retracement, I'm probably going to be looking for, next bigger long position would be more interested down here. And then potentially we'll see if we get that overall continuation. I'm going to hold that short from the high. And now I'm in a position where I can take stabs at little scalp longs that might turn into bigger trades. But if I get stopped out, they'll stop out for a small loss and then maybe even in profit. And then the short just continues to play out. All right, let's see. Shout out to Pharaohs of America. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He says, what kind of price action did you notice in alts prior to the explosion last cycle? Were there any signs different from regular confluences? Any similarities to this cycle from last? Shout out to Pharaohs. Obviously, every cycle is going to be a little bit different. But if you just look historically, like if we pull up Ethereum, right? I kind of do this every time we look at the alts, right? We try to compare it to the current, to recent past price action, right? And for the altcoins, like historically, right? Even in, maybe in past cycles as well, like, 2-day money flow crossovers have, very historically been bullish for altcoins. You could see back here in 2020, you had a big money flow wave in the red. Crossover into the green, you start to get the bigger move up. Obviously, this is a black swan, so, it's a little bit of a caveat there. But again, once that 2-day money flow crossover happens, you get that big leg to the upside, right? Then you come into the red. You get the dump down into the bear market, right? You come bing bong around here. What happens? 2-day money flow crossover, a little bit of a fake out here. And again, there's signs on the higher time frames, right? Like weekly money flow, etc. in the bear market is like more what I like to pay attention to indicate that the bottom is in. Typically, when you see the green money flow start to cross into the green, the bottom is in, right? And then once you start getting the weekly money flow crossover, that's where you really start to see the big moves up. So, yeah, I mean, I would say kind of like I look for the same stuff, right? Like, especially with Market Cypher B, like buying the bottom of the Bitcoin bear markets, like weekly money flow crossover into the red is typically very good. That's what we did this cycle too, right? Money flow crossover into the red. It is very, very, very similar. Market Cypher behaves very similarly. And even as price action kind of stagnates, as the market cap gets bigger, as Bitcoin matures as an asset, it's going to get less volatile, less significant pumps to the upside, less significant dumps to the downside. It just kind of stabilizes, similar to the stock market. But not that you'll never get big dumps or pumps, but they're just less severe than when you have a lower market cap, which is just kind of how the mechanics work, right? But even then, right, like the same signals would be the same. They would just oscillate slower, right? Like your weekly money flow crossovers might happen less and less often as it becomes less volatile, right? So you would just expect the indicators to kind of more slowly move. But the signals are pretty much the same, to be quite honest. But great question. Shout out to you, man. Let's see. Shout out to Greg, said, hey, Frankie, for the short you took, did ExoCharts play any part in you getting in? Struggle of when to take the trade. No SFP, so it's harder. I guess 30-minute bear div. Red dot was confirmation too. Yeah, shout out to Greg. It's very uncommonly just one thing. But yes, number one, you're coming into key resistance. Number two, you're deviating above a volume profile. We're already in the short zone, right? And listen, at the end of the day, right, if there's some people out there that profitably trade by just looking at key levels, waiting for a reaction, and then getting in, right? But for me personally, I really like to see those reversal signals to help sniper entry. But yeah, if you pull up the we actually did have some low time frame bear divs, I believe. I won't even count that because that's kind of hard to see. But yeah, like the lower time frames, I believe the 5-minute had a pretty clean bearish divergence here. So, as you're approaching that key level of resistance, you're on the charts, right? And you're saying like, all right, now, like, what do I want to see here? You have the higher highs on your price action into the key level of resistance, lower highs on your momentum waves on your 5-minute. Money flow starts to come out, right? So you had a 5-minute bear div. You also did have low time frame SFPs here. You had the 5-minute SFP. You had the 15-minute. I think you even had the 30-minute SFP as well. So you did get the SFP there as well. And yes, there was actually some bearish CVD up here as well. We had higher highs on our price action, lower highs on the CVD, so there was bearish CVD as well. To be quite honest, that is typically what I wait for. I did enter a little bit early because I updated the Discord like 5 minutes before the live stream started. So I hopped in a little bit early. But yeah, that was in anticipation of seeing this stuff start to form on the charts, right? And then you start to look at it's like, well, hey, if that 15-minute money flow was starting to come down like after we started to get the drop here, like right as we started dropping, it's like, well, hey, if that 4-hour red dot prints, right, you're also looking at those medium time frame red dots. It's like, well, hey, even before you get that initial drop, right, I'm just going to leak some sauce here, right, before you get that initial drop to the downside, right, you could see your VWAP here on Market Cipher B is starting to curve over. And if I, let me just move over, right, come on, ugh, man, I did not want to go back that far, boom. You come on over to the 4-hour, it's like, well, hey, that 4-hour VWAP is rolling over, right? And again, on the lower, you'll see this, and, you know, it's hard to do in bar replay mode because it has to print that entire 4-hour candle. This took a little bit of, you know, not too much time, but it took a little time for that to come down. But you're already looking at that. You're like, okay, so on the lower time frames, right? And you can see here it didn't print on the lower time frame. It's like, well, hey, you know, I have the push into the levels, right? Or almost into the levels. We actually think we come up again. But you already have like almost a 5-minute bearish divergence, not quite, right? So you're just watching this. And it's like, all right, boom. Now you have the 5-minute bear divs. And it gives you that nice early signal, right? And hilariously enough, this is like right around where I entered, right? And then you're going to the 4-hour, which again is going to print that big candle, which is technically not there right now. But you see this VWAP coming down. You're like, well, hey, the 4-hour red dot is printing. I have low time frame bearish divergences. I have money flow. Like, you even go down to like the 3-minute, and you're like, I have 3-minute money flow coming out. This indicates the local trend might continue down. Hey, I could take a shot at this, right? And chances are we're probably going to get some kind of a pullback. And then as we push down, if that 4-hour red dot ends up printing, I could say, well, hey, that 4-hour red dot might give us the bigger push down, right? So you're having those lower time frame confirmations and money flow direction in line with an incoming 4-hour red dot. And that's how I kind of separate the time frames, right? Low time frame entry, right, with a small move down being likely. And then you have that kind of like big wave coming behind you, which is the 4-hour. It's like, well, hey, if I can get on early, start riding the wave, and then that 4-hour crashes on top, I'll be in early, and then I'll help assist the move to the downside. Does that make sense? So yeah, there's many, many things that you can look for. But that's kind of like would be my thought process as we come up there. But your question with exo charts is, yes, we did have some bearish CVD up there as well. So yeah. All right, so let's continue on. Hopefully that helps you out, brother. Let's see. I do want to take a look at the alts. If you guys want to see your favorite altcoins, go ahead and drop it in the chat right now. Rob the Crypto Snob will count up the votes and let us know what we're looking at. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in, CandleMafia Mama. What is going on? Kay says, I'm scared. Shout out to Kay. Let me actually come out of bar replay mode before we get confused here. And shout out to anybody who was on the live stream last night. Although we were right about the TA, I was a mess yesterday, guys. We were like, I don't know if I was getting I still don't know if I was getting trolled in chat or if I was really like looking at Link and thought it was Sui or something like that. I don't know. It was pretty wild. All right, let's see. Let me just, while you guys are dropping those alts. Shout out to Greg, said, since I'm only in the premium for 3 months, I guess I didn't see that. That's what happens when you're not a full-time trader. Shout out to Greg. And yeah, listen, the and don't trip, right? I always say this. If you miss a short up here, right? Like say you missed a short, right? Well, you could just catch the next long, right? Like I did not get into my long position down here, even though we had the setup. I personally did not get the position. I missed it. I'm like, you know, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm never going to make money. I missed the bottom. Oh my God, right? There's always going to be another move to catch. And if you miss this, you can catch that. There's always money on the chart. There's no reason to, you know, chase it late, right? It's like if you're looking for longs up here, you're already too late. The only thing to look up here is, look for up here is shorts, plain and simple, right? You're never going to see me. Very rarely. I don't want to say never, right? But when I look for breakout trades, I'm keeping a close eye on the order flow. I'm keeping a close eye on volume. Unless you're doing that, right, like just longing on big green candles, hoping it's coming up, is gambling. And more often than not, you are going to get shut down, even if you do continue up, right? Maybe we put in a higher low here and continue up, or who knows? But, you know, that is never going to be the spot to look for longs. Not that I'm saying you did that, Greg, but I'm just, you know, in general, you know, don't trip if you miss a move. If you miss this, you can catch this. If you miss this, you can catch this, right? Or this, right? You can always catch that next move. Trading is a game of trapping. We should have a shirt that says that and sell it in the merch store. It is a game of trapping. When I do my TA, right, we say, well, hey, we have key support down here, right? If we come down there, what can we look for? And a lot of times you can front run the signals, right? And then you can identify exactly what you're looking for. Do you have liquidity sitting below a wick? Then you can look for potential SFPs, right? And every situation is different, but you want to have that predetermined plan. Sit on your hands, set your alerts, wait for price to come into your key level where you have a high probability of a reaction, and that's where you go to the lower time frames, look for the confirmations. If you get them, you take them. If you don't get them, then you sit on your hands and you wait for the next level. Always another opportunity. Fastest way to chew up your account is to completely, consistently chase trades. Let's see. Thanks for all you do, Frankie. You're the GOAT. Shout out to Crypto Man 06. Let's go. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you so much. Oh, yeah. Shout out to UK says, you were looking at Link, but saying Sui was. Shout out to UK. I had a long day yesterday. We did 2 hours premium live stream, and then I jumped right into the 2-hour plus YouTube live stream. And when we looked at alts on that show as well, I was just like, I look at so many altcoins. It's just like eventually it just starts to look like candles. But wow, the thunder is cracking out there, guys. I don't know what the heck is going on. But oh my God, hang on a second, guys. That is not normal. Yeah, I don't need that the camera might have just shook there. Jeez. I don't know. Somebody's pissed off out there. But anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to Satoshi John says, couldn't sell my bags if I wanted to. My keys are inaccessible. Shout out to you, bro. Hopefully locked up in a safety deposit box somewhere. Shout out to UK said, bless you, Frankie. So many charts to look at. Absolutely. But let's go ahead and jump on in here to Ethereum, guys. And to be quite honest, here we are. Right? Yeah, man, it's like I should probably do my stream every other day. I'm not going to do it. Don't worry, guys. But I probably should because it's like, well, we deviated above the high, right? Kind of the same thing here. You had some local bearish divergences above that value area high. You get accepted back in, get stuck under the value area high. POC is the next stop. What is this? 8 p.m. yesterday. Yeah. So, at that point, you're anticipating the POC. If you can't get above that POC, eventually that next target is going to be the value area low with that anchored VWAP confluence, which was the exact key zone we were looking at yesterday. Where are we getting the bounce from? That exact key zone. Now, traditionally, based off the volume profiles, right, I will say this is typically where you would look to go from the low. If you get the continued retracement to the upside, the POC is going to be a key level. Flip the POC, go to the value area high. I don't know if at this point, guys, this profile has rotated so many times, it almost seems too good to be true for this to rotate fully again. Hopefully it does, but, just keep in mind here, this has just been, the zone to look at on Ethereum, right? We've been ranging for, call it 40 days almost. Above the high, back to the low. Below the low, back to the high. Above the high, back to the low. Below the low, back in, back to the PLC, back to the high, et cetera, right? These volume profiles are absolutely goated. This is where you're looking for shorts. This is where you're looking for longs, right? It's just absolutely goated, especially if you get those bullish confirmations, which, fun fact, easy confirmation you can look for are bullish divergences. I like to see a little bit more than that. Obviously, context, money flow, all that is very, very important. But at the end of the day, if you're using the Frankie Candles Essentials Indicator, guys, free on TradingView. You can just Google my name, click this, get it on your chart right now. No strings attached whatsoever. It is a volume profile, and if you're new to the charts, it'll help you identify when those divergences are happening outside the key zone that you're going to be looking for trades at. So definitely check that out. I have videos on the channel explaining exactly how to use it, but it kind of simplifies our TA here if you're new. But at the end of the day, longs at the lows, shorts at the highs every single time, unless you have a reason to look for the breakout, in which case, you don't get signals up here. You look for the bigger breakout, but here we are, back at our key level of support. If we are able to continue to rotate, right, POC 2610, value area high 2662, and if we break down, key level to lose here is the anchored VWAP. If you can't get back up, if you lose that anchored VWAP, can't get back above, point of control sitting right here at about 2320 is your next key level of support. It's not until we lose that where I'm going to be looking to come down towards that bigger golden pocket / value area low around $2,100, right? But until then, it's like this is your volume profile you're looking at as far as context goes. And then, yeah, I would say, we can even separate this now, right? Because that is anchored VWAP value area low, which is what we were looking at yesterday. And then below that, I would say, like, the next significant level is going to be the POC, right? So, yeah, that's the local levels here. And I would also, let me pull this fib from the high to the low here. Yeah, you do have confluence here on the point of control with your local Fibonacci retracement. So locally, if you are going to continue your downtrend, this would be, obviously you're going to anticipate a potential fulfill of the range. But because of the fib here, you could potentially get rejected here to continue the downtrend. So that is sitting between, right on the POC around 2586 to 2630. That's definitely a level that you want to keep an eye on as well. All right, let's see. isn't there higher lows at the moment? Wait, who said that? Shout out to 12 Big Frankie. Isn't there higher lows at the moment? It depends on what you're looking at. Are you looking at local market structure, macro market structure? It's gonna depend, right? So like technically here, if I just turn off the chart to make it a little bit easier, right? Like this would be, you know, low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, and just kind of consolidation here. If you go down to like something like a 1 minute time frame, right? Like this would be like, well, hey, you know, you're at an uptrend here. It really depends on what time frame you're looking at, 12. So yeah, there's gonna be like, you know, you could have an uptrend on a 1 minute, right, within a larger downtrend on a higher time frame, right? So it does get a little bit confusing when you're trying to like separate the different time frames, but it depends on what time frame you're looking at. So you could totally have higher lows and higher highs on a low time frame with, you know, lower highs and lower lows on a higher time frame. And then sometimes when you're just like in choppy price action, like it's just low key kind of like, you would just call it consolidation, right? Because it's when it's hard to see clear lower highs or lower lows or you know, vice versa. You could just be, you know, in some kind of chop, right? Or a sideways range, right? You're not always going to be in a trend. That's only when you're in a trend here. But if price is going sideways, right, there's no higher lows or higher highs, right? But you will have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then you will have high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? And you have like that internal structure within each wave. So yeah, it really depends on what you're looking at. And then even here, right, you could look at this as, you know, this might be within a larger uptrend, right? So it might be sideways consolidation, but you might have a low, a high, a higher low, higher high, and then, you know, on higher time frame, that just looks like a higher low before another higher high. So yeah, it depends on what time frame you're looking at. But yes, you can have, you know, multiple different trends happening at the same time on different time frames. All right, let's see. Okay, so on Ethereum, guys, that is going to be like really just, you know, we're just within this range. If we lose this, looking down towards the POC, not really much more to update there. Taking a look at the daily, we do not have the daily red dot like we did on Bitcoin. So that's, you know, that's kind of just neutral there. You know, maybe that green dot prints. It can give us another break to the value area high and potentially beyond. Taking a look at our money flow, 2-day money flow, dying to stay in the green here, guys. Dying to stay in the green, just like holding on by the skin of its teeth. Let's take a look at the 3-day. 3-day money flow still pretty much in the red there. But again, you know, we do have the monthly green dot printing with that 2-day money flow crossover into the green. Maybe this bing bongs around a little bit. You also do have a 2-day bearish divergence here. So again, like even if we got the bigger pullback to the golden pocket, like it's not until we start really losing this range where I'm going to be looking for much lower prices. So yeah, you got a range within a bigger range. Key target to the upside still going to be between 3,000 and 3,150 at our daily MPOC and golden pocket zone. Let's see. Shout out to Charles, said Trump coming out with a smartphone, the T1 in August. Charles, are you trolling? Is that true? Trump getting into the smartphone game. That's kind of wild. Shout out to Supreme Clean says, do you mostly trade New York sessions or do you trade 24/7? I would say pretty much 24/7. Obviously, you get a lot of volatility during the New York session. You know, New York opens. You know, that's typically where you get the big significant volume to come in. But I pretty much trade all the time, right? If there's a good setup, you know, at 8 p.m. and I see it, I'll take an entry, right? And then the question is when New York wakes up the next day, is it going to stop me out or go in my direction? All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Web Crusader says, I think Frankie could have a future in auctioneering. As an auctioneer, gotta bid 2,500, 2,500, 2,500. Do I hear 26, 26, 26? Got 26, 26. Sold to Web Crusader. I just ate my microphone. Shout out to Web Crusader. It's like one of the most common comments that I get is, Frank, you should be an auctioneer. All right, let's continue on here. Took a look at ETH. Did we get an alt list here? Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. I'm sure I missed it. I'm going to scrub up. I got it. Shout out to Rob. Thank you for this, bro. Pin users comment. There it is. All right, so we got, Gala, man. Yo, we have not taken a look at Gala in a while, or Gala, as some people like to say. I don't know who says that, but I'm sure someone does. Let's take a look at Gala. Wow, we have not looked at Gala in quite some time, and hilariously enough, I guess the last time we looked at it was November. That's not that long ago. But just still wiggling around within our macro volume profile. I mean, this is your key support 100%, right? Value area low sitting at about 0.013. You don't want to lose that, right? You lose that, I would say, let me see where your 786 is here. Yeah. This would be your key zone of support, right? Like if you don't bounce off the 786, value area low, probably coming to take this low down here at about 0.011. So this is support. I'll take this golden pocket off the chart. Yeah, if you can't get the bounce here, probably going to sweep that low, in my opinion. Now, we don't have any other support levels to look at to the left. So the only thing I can really do for support to the downside is to look at the fib levels. So I'll pull from the low to the high, and then I'll pull up those extensions. So you do have a level down here at about 0.008, under a penny. Good Lord. So I'll just mark out, I'll mark out these next two fib zones or fib levels. These would be the next levels I would look at for potential support. If you break the low, right? If you take this low, could you bounce before that? Maybe. But, the next support that I can see on the chart, because I cannot look left because there is no price action here, obviously, is going to be those fib levels between 0.00894 and 0.00682. But hopefully, yeah, I mean, the 2-day money flow crossover, guys, is the thing that I personally think that we need on the charts for the altcoins to run. Money flow coming back out on the 2-day. Eventually, when that crosses into the green, that is going to be your best bet to see the fill of this volume profile back up to the high. So, yeah, those are the key levels I would look at on Gala. Taking a look at the 6-day. 6-day red dot printing. I mean, maybe you can get some higher time frame bullish divergences if you do take that low, right? Boom. It would be kind of brutal. Maybe you bounce off some more local support here, but like if you do take out that low and you could, if you do have local, maybe some fib extension levels down there or something, could potentially be looking for high time frame bull divs below the low. That would give you a bullish confirmation as you deviate below the volume profile, typically looked at as a bullish reversal signal to get back into the range, flip the low, and then head back up towards your POC. Unfortunately, well, we can get this off the chart because that is old. This monthly is old. So, yeah, that's just a little bit of a forethought if we do come down and take that low. But, yeah, I would be careful. Definitely, your, again, 0.013 is your key level of support that you want to hold if you don't want to break that low. So, there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Gala. Let's check the monthly real quick. Yeah, monthly VWAP still hanging out down there. Let's see, 4-hour. You got a 4-hour bull div here. Yeah, so this 4-hour, and the nice thing here locally, money flow is not really supporting a big move up at this point, but you are technically getting a little bit of a 4-hour bull div into that 786. Yeah, I'll be honest, though. Yeah, you are getting a 4-hour bull div into that 786. So, yeah, you're getting bullish confirmations on the 4-hour at least, but money flow is not confluent, right? You would really want to see money flow in a big red wave here ready to cross into the green. That would indicate that the trend might be able to continue to the upside, but you have money flow coming out right now, so I'd be careful with that. But you might be able to get a little bounce there off that 4-hour bull div at the 786. Not a signal. I'm not telling you to long it right now. I'm just saying, trying to call direction here. But, yeah, I would be overall pretty careful here. And of course, if Bitcoin continues to dump, the alts are very, very likely to follow. Let's see. Shout out to Live for Love says, I think it's important to trade the wrong way and lose money. And then he says, I don't think the lessons I've learned would be as valuable without that experience. Shout out to Live for Love. I 100% agree with you, bro. Not only do I think it's important, if I'm being totally honest, I think it's a necessity, right? I think it's unavoidable because even if, I always say this, trading and TA are two separate skills. They go together very, obviously you need one to have the other if you want to do it good, right? But they are two totally separate skills. You can mark up a chart and find key support levels and be like, oh, maybe we'll bounce here. That is totally different than actually putting money on the table and managing that trade because you then introduce the emotions into the equation. Right? That is what is so hard about trading. Actually having the money on the table, actually taking profit when you should, and understanding that, you're going to be stressed out, right? To some degree, right? Because a lot of times your trade will go into the red a little bit, even before it goes into the green, right? So you have to be able to stomach those ups and downs, right? So, I think TA is puzzle piece number one. But you could be the best analyst in the world. It does not make you the best trader, right? You could be, if you're a generally undisciplined person or a generally like just emotional person, not that, it's necessarily the worst thing in the world, but when it comes to trading, right, you could call the move. But if you're an emotional person and you get into a long trade, you think it's going to bounce, and then you start pulling back a little bit, and you're like, oh, I'm going to short, I'm going to close my, and it's not going to be a good thing, right? So I think it's actually necessary and completely unavoidable to lose money in the process. You have to put skin in the game and actually spend some money to learn the skill, right? And you can't learn the skill of trading without actually putting money on the line. You could demo trade, which is good for practice, but you're still not exercising that emotional muscle, which is why most people fail at trading. It's simply the emotional discipline that to stick to your plan, stay disciplined, and again, take profit when you're in the green, and cutting your loss, having a plan, and taking the loss when your trade is invalidated, not just trying to hold on to the trade because you thought you made the right decision. You're like, I'll move my stop down. You have to exercise that muscle, and the only way to do that is to put money on the table. So I agree. Shout out to you, brother. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Captain Kirk. See you later. Gotta go make that money, baby. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Be safe tonight, and we will see you probably here tomorrow. Have a great night, and thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you. Let's see. Trading gives you a heart attack. Shout out to Silent Q. I have one gray hair on my head, probably from trading. Let's see. Keep the sauce flowing, Chef Frankie. Shout out to Ken Barkoff. We're going, baby. We're going. We're going to give sauce to go today as well. I got the answer. Thank you. Everything is there in the link. Shout out to Pankaj. I don't know if I said your name right. I apologize. But I think that was to somebody else. My emotional muscles are getting a workout. Shout out to Austin Cyphers. Yeah, and I always say, right, like, you never want to, like, even if you learn TA and you're like, I'm going to load up my account, I would never recommend somebody put all their capital into the trading account, right? Because, again, you have to, like, I think if people approach trading a little differently, instead of looking at it as a get-rich-quick scheme, I'm going to make 5K a day, 3K a day, 1K a day, 500 a day, right? Instead of going into it like that, go into it like, all right, I started to master the charts. I understand what I'm looking at. I have a good understanding of market structure. I have a good understanding of the indicators, liquidity, whatever it is, right? And then maybe get on demo, practice a little bit, get used to how the exchange works, how leverage works, how the stop orders work, and then load up a little bit of money that you would be okay. Put the $100 in, whatever you put in, $1,000, whatever it is for you. Put that money in and be like, I'm going to pay for my first trading lesson, right? You obviously want to try to make money, but just understand it's very difficult. Very little people load up their account for the first time and become a millionaire, right? Like, I don't know if that's ever happened, right? I'm sure it's happened somewhere. But there would be a huge aspect of luck if that were the case. Shout out to Kilgan, and thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, I'm wondering what kind of insane news we'll get tonight. Yeah. Again, any tweet in either direction can change things very quickly. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on here. Next altcoin on the list is going to be AVAX. Take a look at Gala. We'll take a look at AVAX. And then maybe if we have time at the end of the stream, I'll take some requests as well. All right, so last time we looked at AVAX, I assume we were probably up here. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, I would assume we're probably up here. No support at the POC. Lost the POC, looking to go down to the value area low. Nuked right through your golden pocket 786. Literally zero reaction at your golden pocket 786. Maybe on a lower time frame you got some kind of a reaction. Not really. You just nuked right through that 786 golden pocket, which was the next key level down below. Also confluent with the value area low of the range. And yeah, that's not good. I don't want to say not good, but we do have the daily MPOC down here, which is starting to hold support just a little bit. Potential daily bullish divergence at that daily MPOC. But again, you got to be careful with the altcoins, guys. I got to be totally honest, right? Like, if Bitcoin's going to pull back to 97K, it's probably not going to be the best situation for the altcoins, right? Let's take a look at the 3-day. What's the weekly look like? Yeah, I mean, your next real, I assume this is probably, yeah, so you have your 786. You're losing your golden pocket here. So at this point, right, you're looking for a bounce, not only off the local fib levels that I had, right, but also you have the full golden pocket from the low to the high sitting right on that daily, right on that value area low. If you held that and got back in here, you could have looked good, but you're now losing that golden pocket, in which case you do have the daily MPOC sitting here at 1826. Could hold you up locally, but for the most part, unless you get an aggressive reclaim of that golden pocket, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that 786 weekly MPOC sitting right here at about 1728 to 1640. So yeah, not, even below the levels we looked at there, you would say, well, hey, you have the golden pocket here. Maybe you can get a bounce off that, and you're starting to lose it, right? You did get a little bit of a wick and then a little bounce, and now you're back down. So I would say big level to watch here, 1727 all the way down to 1640. If that daily MPOC doesn't hold up. But again, not really, this 786 has confluence with the weekly MPOC. This daily MPOC doesn't really have anything on it. Not impossible to bounce there, but I would say, the fact that you're losing your golden pocket, you're expecting the 786, and the fact that you have confluence down here does look like a little bit of a better level down there, in my opinion. Let's see. So, we could see what happens here, right? Because if you put in this lower low on price action, I don't really like the way this looks, but if you were able to get that, once that green dot prints, you will have a daily bull div. Does it happen at the daily MPOC and you hold it, or do you get another drop down to the 786? And then, I don't know. Depending on how that plays out, you might invalidate the daily bull div. But you might be able to get the daily bull div if you can hold support on that daily MPOC. But again, 4-hour bull div. You have the daily bull div too? Yeah, and the daily bull div as well. The question is, will it print here, 4-hour, and the daily? 4-hour bull div might be able to print maybe in the next hour if you could start to push up. Maybe you'll get that green dot. But if you come out to the daily here, you're on the line here. Maybe if you get the daily bull div here, hey, maybe you hold the daily MPOC. But if not, I'd more prefer that as a stronger level. And again, even the 4-hour money flow, right? Again, you would want to see the money flow crossing into the green as you print that bull div, not crossing into the red. If it stays in the red, the idea here would be, hey, the bull div can give you a bounce, but it might be a lackluster bounce for a lower high and a lower low into your bigger key level of support. So there you go. That's what I would look at on AVAX. 2-day, 2-day VWAP kind of flat. 3-day, 4-day. Monthly VWAP just still chilling there. 2-day money flow, I think, is the thing that you need, to be honest. 2-day money flow crossover into the green. I mean, any of these on any altcoin you look at, just go back test it, right? 2-day money flow crossover into the green, right? But we got a dump. What happened, right? Well, the money flow indicates the overall trend, not the ebbs and the flows. Green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, right? Money flow coming up and crossing into the green indicates the trend will continue up, not the ebbs and flows, right? So it's okay if you see a money flow crossover and you get a pullback, right? As long as you can get the continuation of that trend. Or I shouldn't say as long as you get, but the money flow crossover indicates the overall trend, right? Not just the ebbs and flows. These are not instant signals. These are directional indications. But even here, right? 2-day money flow crossover, in continuation of the trend, right? Obviously, you come down a little bit, but that money flow crosses over, and it was coming up as well. This is why I love Market Cipher B so much. It's because you can identify the direction. It's not used as a signal. It's like, well, hey, if money flow is trending up, we can anticipate a crossover into the green. This means that the trend is probably going to continue up, right? And you can get a little pullback, but what happens? You get the continuation up, higher low, higher high, right? You continue that overall trend to the upside. Same thing here, right? Long-term, 2-day money flow crossovers are going to be huge. I wouldn't even really hate, right? You come down here, reclaim, right? That wouldn't be that bad. Lose the 786, probably coming back down to some of these lower levels. But we'll cover those, when they become a little bit more relevant. So there we go. All right, let's jump back into chat real quick here. Shout out to Rudy Cruz, says, all this looks bad. I played the bounce up early and got stopped out in profit. Now I'm short. Let's go, baby. We're both short. I might actually get stopped out of my scalp long position here, which is totally fine because short is up massively. Literally short from almost the tippy top, at least on Bitcoin. All right, let's see. Next on the list, ADA. Let's take a quick look at ADA. Everybody wants to see ADA lately. All right, so here we are. Looked at these levels last night. Let's see. Yesterday was the 16th. Yeah, so as we were bing-bonging around here, we had our next key level of support here. Value area low, daily MPOC. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's nothing really here, in my opinion. It's not like, especially with the way money flow looks right now on the 4-hour, right? Like, it's not like a situation where you're having, like, nice bullish divergences with money flow coming up. It's like, you could get the 4-hour bull div into that daily MPOC, similar to what we were just looking at on AVAX, right? But money flow is coming out, right? So, I would have to treat these as lackluster bounces until proven otherwise, right? Maybe, eventually you get the crossover back into the green, but, typically if we had a 4-hour bull div forming here and money flow looked like this, where we had, big green wave, right? Came into the red, and then we're crossing back into the green nice and smooth. That would be a much nicer signal with lower lows, bullish divergence, right? Not printing yet. You got to wait for that green dot. But that would be a good indication of a continuation of the trend. But, until that money flow turns around, you have to look at that as lackluster before continuation down. Taking a look at the daily. Daily bull div also looking to form. If you want to avoid that noise on the 4-hour, it might be a little bit safer to kind of this might be the better thing to look at, right? Higher lows on the daily, lower lows on your price action, but you still have lost your 786, in which case, not that you can't hold the MPOC, right? Typically, when you're looking for higher lows on a fib zone, the zone is between the golden pocket and the 786, right? So if you don't bounce off the golden pocket and you lose the golden pocket, technically the next level to look for is the 786, but you can bounce from the middle of that zone. Support and resistance is not always a exact line on the chart. But in this case, maybe the daily MPOC holds, but I would be very careful here. I would probably rather be late than early on that move, right? Because maybe you get the 4-hour bull div, you get the little bounce, and then you get the lower low for the daily bull div, right? And, you might have to wait a little bit, but that would be a little bit stronger in my opinion. Also, money flow in the red, not the best look, in my opinion, for like super massive moves up, at least as of right now. But 786 sits here at about 58 cents. Daily MPOC sitting down here at about 0.5685. And then, I would say lose that 786, sure, daily MPOC is down there, but once you lose that 786, you might be able to break structure to the downside. And this is all, it's very similar and all in the case of like Bitcoin breaking its low as well, right? So if you see the bigger Bitcoin correction, it's probably going to bleed into the altcoins as well, obviously. Let's see. And listen, guys, if we get bearish news on the whole WW3 situation or, the geopolitical stuff. I try to dance around those words because I don't know if YouTube likes it. But just listen, Bitcoin's never been through something like that, right? So we don't know what the case is going to be if that does happen. Probably going to be historically, at least for other assets, when you get news like that. Typically, it's very, very bearish short term, but winds up always coming back up. The question on how deep that would bring us, very hard to say. We'll have all the technical levels here on the show. Keep you guys updated with that. But, Bitcoin's never been through something like that. So we'll have to see. It'll be the first time. It'll be like the true test for Bitcoin. And honestly, it's like, I don't know. I guess the dream scenario would be like, if stuff hits the fan, right? Like maybe people flock to Bitcoin as like a safe haven, right? I don't know if we're there yet. But, we'll see. Black Swan buy, baby. Listen, we could just go back to the last significant Black Swan event. Was it smart to buy that dip? You tell me. I don't want to tell everybody anytime price goes to zero, buy it, right? But for something like Bitcoin, guys, it's like, and honestly, like Bitcoin holding, right? Like the world is falling apart, right? Like all this bad stuff is happening. Why is Bitcoin still making new all-time highs, right? It's been holding up pretty nice. I know the altcoins are a different story. I know it is a different story. But let's see. Hey, shout out to Tetra. Said, hey, Frankie, I bought Market Cypher Lifetime with your referral. Can I get a hug? Tetra, bring it in, bro. Come on. Bring it in, bro. Give me a bro hug. You got to slap the back, though, because otherwise it's not a bro hug. Shout out to Tetra. Thank you for that, bro. I appreciate you so much. And shout out to you, man. I'm excited for you because you're going to love Market Cypher. I promise. But let's continue on here. We took a look at ETH. We took a look at Cardano. We took a look at Gala. We took a look at AVAX, ADA. Ethereum? No. We took a look at Ethereum, ADA, AVAX, Gala. Let's take a look. I'll do a quick check-in on Solana. Still just here. My plan on Solana really remains the same, guys. Key level support, POC. Lose the POC. This is 100% all eyes on that golden pocket. I believe we also have a daily MPOC down there as well. So, lose that point of control at about $143, right? We're going to be looking down towards that golden pocket for a full fill of this volume profile. We got above the low, into the POC, flip the POC, back to the high. You get the deviation above the high. You get back into the range, back to the POC. At this point, if you go for the full fill of the range, you do have confluence down here for support. That would be the next big level I'm looking at. Can't guarantee that we'll get down there, but when you look at the money flow here on the daily, cruising to the downside, you get that daily money flow crossover. The downtrend is likely to continue. That would be the next big place to look. Not too much else to update here on Solana, to be quite honest. and you have your fresh daily red dot printing. Your 90-minute money flow is now crossed over into the red, right? So maybe if that 90-minute money flow continues down, it could be the indication that you're going to continue that trend to the downside, targeting that next key level. Value area low golden pocket is sitting between 130.31 and 124.19. So there you go. Other than that, not too much. We look at Solana all the time, so if you've watched any live stream in the past couple weeks, still the same plan there. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Alex O. Says, dip it, baby. Send it to zero. Send it to zero. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I don't want it to go to zero. I never want it to come off like just because, we're short from the top that I want it to go to zero. That's never the case, right? I would always prefer to get stopped out of a short, hopefully in profit, to just let price fly. I do hold a lot of crypto. Low on the likes. Smash it, Mafia. Shout out to Jesse, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. Let's run it up to 550. If we get 1,000, we're giving away $150 in Solana. If we don't get to 1,000 and we get to 550, I'll give free feet pics to everybody in chat right now. Let's go. 550 on the likes. Let's go. And luckily, you can't smell through the camera, guys. So, all right, let's see. Let's continue on here. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, so that's Solana. Let's take a look at, quick check-in on XRP. We got our daily MPOC sitting down here at 214. Yeah, sentiment, I mean, we did tap the value area low, so technically you went from the high to the POC to the low. Yeah, I would say, let's pull our local fib here from the low to the high. Yeah, I mean, this is your zone to hold. You lose this, value area low is more likely, in my opinion. Hold 214. Potential opportunity to continue up towards that point of control, sitting between 240 and the golden pocket of 244. Lose the 786. I'm looking back down here towards the value area low and the golden pocket confluence, sitting closer. Again, same thing, not too much to update here on XRP. Same thing we looked at yesterday. Key zone 206 to $1.97. That's your next significant level, right? Now, how likely is it to hold this 786? Let's take a look. VWAP coming up on the 4-hour. Money flow still in the green here on the 4-hour, which is interesting. 8-hour money flow in the green. Let's check the 16-hour red dot. Is that a blood diamond? Oh, it is. Which doesn't necessarily mean you're going to zero, but typically these blood diamonds do give you significant moves to the downside. That is printing. Let's check that 1-hour money flow because we have that 16-hour red dot with your 1-hour money flow crossover into the red. This would indicate that the trend might be able to continue to the downside, right? You have that 16-hour red dot, 1-hour money flow crossover into the red. Market Cipher B116 strategy. If you do not know what I'm talking about, check out the video tutorial on the channel. I explain it in full, how we use this to identify the direction. So, yeah, that doesn't look good for the hold of the 786, to be quite honest with you. Now, are we getting any significant bullish divergences? At least as of right now, we do not really have any bull divs. 4-hour, no bull div. Let's check like lower time. Yeah, yellow X on the 45-minute. Yeah, I mean, I would be careful here. Technically, you have lower lows, almost lower lows. Yeah, not even really. They're not strong, right? Like, tiny little lower low on your price action here, but it's not into your 786 daily MPOC. So nothing really signal-wise to look at here, but I will just say this is your key level support. 214, lose that. Probably headed down towards the value area low. Let's see. Bada boom. Yo, shout out to Kevin, says Frankie looks like a Jets fan. What do Jet fans look like? Shout out to Kevin. No, I don't really watch sports. I don't really pay much attention to sports, to be quite honest to you. Honestly, the only thing I really pay attention to is the charts. The charts are my favorite team. Charts versus news. Charts every single time. Easiest bet you can make is on the charts. Shout out to Kevin. Let's go, baby. But I'll take it. Let's see. ETF goes live in Canada tomorrow for XRP. That is 20 ETFs filed for XRP. Shout out to Hawaii Rider. Hey, maybe that helps us hold the 786. Hopefully it does. Yo, shout out to Wick said, XRP, what's that? Sounds like a banker coin. Shout out to Wick 589, OG of the CandleMafia. Such a Satoshi thing to say, Frankie. Shout out to Hollywood. Yeah, shout out to CandleMafia's John Cena says the charts are his sport of choice. Absolutely. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I've never really been I listen, I'm like the same thing with like celebrity gossip and stuff. It's just like I don't know. It doesn't I didn't grow up with sports. I grew up in more of like an outdoorsman, like hunter type hunting and fishing type household. So that's probably why I'm not that into it. But yeah, I don't know. I can't. The only way I can explain why I don't watch sports is cuz like I can't figure out a reason to care. And I'm not saying that if you care, there's something wrong with that. I just personally can't find a reason to care. Like, I don't know. Every time the sports on, like, who are you rooting for? I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's probably because I didn't grow up with it. Like, I don't have any, like, family pride behind a team or anything like that. I just go with New York. If I'm watching, basketball is probably one thing I do like to watch once in a while, especially if I go to a game. So, obviously, let's go Knicks. But, again, like, I'm definitely, like, I couldn't talk sports with people. I don't know. Maybe if I bet on it, like UFC is probably my favorite sport, if you want to classify that as a regular sport. UFC, I watch UFC. I bet on UFC. But yeah, I watch basketball and don't care at all about teams, but I enjoy watching, but zero passion. Yeah, shout out to Tony T. I don't know what it is. It's just like I don't know. It's not my blood. Let's see. The stable coin is my biggest holding. Shout out to Nick Dunn. Hey, at least you'll be able to buy the dip, bro. It's not a bad thing. Shout out to Kevin said, I'm an Eagles fan, Frankie. That's why I asked NY and Philly beef. Let's go. Shout out to Kevin. Yeah. That's funny. All right, let's see. Yeah, Breads and Circuses. Shout out to Pennywise. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Just not my thing. But let's see. Yo, shout out to Mark Dutch, said Tony D. That's how I watch ladies mud wrestling. Anyway, let's continue on here. We'll see if we can hold that 786 on XRP. We'll take a look at Doge. Shout out to Crypto Al looking for Doge. The circus is where you find the clown. Shout out to Pennywise. Yo, did anybody know that like clown college is a real thing and it's like actually really hard to get into? And it's like really difficult. I didn't know that. I saw Steve-O talking about that, and he's like said it's like super hardcore. It's like no joke, which is crazy. I mean, clowns do crazy things. But taking a look here. Speaking of clowns, Dogecoin. No, I'm kidding. I like Dogecoin. Anyway, yeah, I mean, listen, guys, you're coming into the value area low. I'll take off the golden pocket. Again, you've lost the golden pocket. Technically, it opens the doorway to the 786. Locally, though, you are coming down to the value area low, which is your biggest key level right now within the profile, obviously, as support. I would look at it as a zone between the 786 and the value area low at 16.167 and 0.157. Yeah, I mean, listen, you got the lower lows. You got the, technically, you have lower lows, at least on your wick. Higher lows. Again, money flow not confluent here on the 12-hour. Take a look at the 4-hour. No bullish divergence. Yeah, I would be more of a fan to either wait for another drop in clearer signals because, like, you don't. But even if you did have a 4-hour bull div, like, your money flow is coming out here. So, again, still not the best case. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to short at support, but, I would have to be looking at this as, like, lackluster to at least come down to the 786. Lose the 786. You have the honorable mention of the weekly MPOC here at about 14.147. So, yeah, I would look down to the 786 next, lose that. I'd be looking down to the weekly MPOC. And then, again, lose that 786 just like everything. I'm not going to, like, go too in-depth on a lot of this just because it all kind of looks the same. You lose that 786, guys. Like, technically, when you look at this, you're looking for a bounce off either the golden pocket for a higher high or the 786 for a higher high. If you don't get that, right, it's more likely to come take that low. Unless you bounce off the weekly MPOC. But, again, there's not much confluence on there as far as I can see. Yeah, you got a daily on the 786. I guess you got a daily on the weekly. So you got some support down below, but that 786 would be key to hold, in my opinion, for the continuation up through the rest of the profile to retarget the POC at 26 cents. So taking a look at the daily again here. Yeah, daily bull div into your zone here. That wouldn't be a horrible thing either, but again, you have to pay attention to your money flow. The money flow fakes back out in the green. Maybe that bull div plays out, but right now that money flow is headed in the wrong direction. Again, I think patience is key with the altcoins, right? Like money flow coming out here on the 2-day as well. We can take a look at Bitcoin dominance real quick. Again, what is going on here? She's still playing around with that 786, guys. We got to lose that 786 on dominance. This is very bad for altcoins. Makes the next big target 66.21%. A rejection there. I'd really like to see how this weekly candle closes. Are we going to be able to close that second weekly candle below that 786? That would be nice. If not, yeah, I got to be careful there. Ugh. Let's see. Can we take a look at the liquidation heat map? Yes, absolutely. Let me just load it up here on the 2-week. Ada gang, shout out to Jesse. Let's go, baby. Don't forget to smash that like button. Speaking of Jesse, guys, 550 likes gets you a free subscription to Frankie's Foot Finder profile. Anyway, let's see here. All right, so taking a look. Let me take a look at the 1 month, right? So we'll take a look at a higher time frame here on the heat maps. Understand where that liquidity lies, because sometimes it does act as a magnet. We do have a ton of liquidity here on the heat map above almost $111,000, our last high here. A lot of liquidity sitting up there. If I zoom out a little bit more, the higher you zoom out on the time frames, a little less clear the heat maps become. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely closer to all this liquidity. Here's the thing, right? The thing that makes this interesting is I'm not calling for this. I'm going to say this before I even bring this up. I am not calling for this, but I will just show you something interesting here on the charts. You have all this liquidity sitting down here at about 80, starting at about 85, all the way down to about $82,000. First thing I think to myself was like, do we have a key level down there? If we pull up the Bitcoin chart, if we hide the local profile and we pull up the macro profile and we pull our macro Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high. Funny enough, all that liquidity is sitting below this low, right? We're really like all around these lows, right? Between 85 all the way down to the 786 at 82.5. In like a crazy, wild situation. I am not calling for this, but if we were to get a massive move down, right? Because we have all the liquidity up here, and the next significant area of liquidity is sitting right here. This is technically the line in the sand that, if lost, would call for a much bigger move down, breaking the low at 75,000. But imagine if Bitcoin wanted to come down, Black Swan, scam all that liquidity, and then send it back to the upside. Not calling for that. I'm just saying it is interesting. Anytime I look at a heat map like that, guys, the first thing in my brain is, well, hey, do we have a key level there? There's not only a key level, it is literally the biggest important level of support to hold for the long-term continuation for Bitcoin, in my own personal opinion. So it's just interesting, right? I'm not calling for it. It's just very interesting, right? We'll see. Maybe it winds up coming true, but it is just interesting to understand where all that sits, right? Just below all these lows, right? We consolidated. Obviously, people are going to be thinking, "Oh my God, we're going to get the blast up," and they were right? All that liquidity still sits below there. Now, are all those liquidations still sitting down there? Maybe, maybe not, right? But I will say more locally, you take a look at the 1 month, right? Come on. Or I'm sorry, the 2 week. Come on. Right, you have most of the liquidity sitting, like locally, we have liquidity sitting above that high. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It is interesting down there at 82,000, but we're very far away from that, right? Just because liquidity acts as a magnet for price does not mean that price has to go down there, right? I would argue that you're closer to this liquidity anyway, right? So, maybe 100K, like even pull back up that 2 week. I'll have to intensify the threshold here just a little bit, just so we can see it a little better. Yeah, I mean, we still got some local liquidity down here, 102K. That's also, again, hot spot of liquidity on the map here, 102,353. Do we have a key level there? Value area low. Like literally almost on that exact zone, right? So like SFP this wick, right, into your key level of support, and then maybe you get back up, right? So there is lower liquidity sitting down there as well locally. Underneath that, about $100,000, another big key level, right? So, again, I'm not looking down to there until we, get closer, but it is just interesting knowing that we have that big key level down there. But yeah, and then a ton of liquidity up here at 126K, which is interesting. But yeah, there you go. Shout out to Infinite Team TA. Shout out to you, man. He says, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Shout out to you, bro. But shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. I think he's trying to get a crown here, which I don't see any crowns at all, which is interesting. Oh, yeah, no, there they are. Do super chats get you extra points? Let me know. All right, let's see. Shout out to Crypto for Columbus. That's an awesome name. Shout out to you, man. Says, I was just looking at all the MPOCs in that same area at 84K-ish. Yeah, let me pull them up. right? And like this is obviously higher time frame, right? I don't want to scare anybody. This is just for educational purposes. But if we pull up some of these MPOCs, daily MPOCs between 84.4 and 82K. It's almost like this is the liquidity. Weekly MPOC, 85 down to about 78. Oh, good Lord. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that one because that would be like, sure, you could bounce there, but you're losing your 786. Very difficult situation. Monthly MPOC at 85K as well. So, yeah, 85 to 84K, just like a cluster of MPOCs, right? But, again, we have a lot of support above that, right? So, again, it's an if this, then that situation. We have to deal with these. We'll understand those levels are there. But it is just interesting to kind of look at that in, try to look forward. Shout out to Infinite Team TA. Says, I'm just showing support, man. Having some fun. Shout out to Infinite Team TA. I appreciate you so much, bro. Hopefully we could get you a crown in here. Who was holding the crown, bro? I feel like you would have, with the super chats, bro, you should have jumped up higher. Somebody's like hoarding the crown. Let's go. Shout out to Infinite Team. I'm getting a scam call right now. No way, bro. No way. Should we? I don't know. It's like, I just answered it's not a scam. It's like the doctor with some, like, embarrassing news. Your hemorrhoid cream, it just came in. I'm just kidding. Anyway, shout out to Kelly Kellum, bro. What is going on? He said, stack sats. These moments make legends. Higher is coming. Find entries and grab onto your britches. Love you, Candle fam. Shout out to Kelly Kellum. I appreciate that, bro. Go check out Kelly Kellum, guys. He's got some really great information as well. Kelly, I hope you're doing good. Kelly, I have a question, bro. I was going to text you yesterday, but I have a question, bro. Can you teach me how to chop dubstep? Let me know if you could do that, bro. I'm interested in learning how to chop dubstep as a hobby. I don't want to be a DJ, but I think it'd be fun. I really like, I saw a video the other day of someone chopping dubstep, and I was like, it looks so much fun. It looks so much better than just listening to it. But let me know. I know you DJ, so I was like, I don't even know how I would learn that. Let's see. Shout out to Giga Longbottom said, I messed up a super chat last week. I just wanted to shout out Amanda Bynes because she's just doing her best. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. I appreciate the super chat that I may have not seen, but is there like a news on Amanda Bynes? Shout out to Amanda Bynes. That whole thing is crazy. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to All Star Auto Group. Said, what desktop do you use? What desktop computer do you use? I have a custom PT. I have a custom built PC by the one and only Tony D. I wish I could tell you. I used to know what components are in it. I forget. It's like I would say it's like a pretty decent PC. Probably gonna upgrade it though. I used to have a lot of trouble. Actually, shout out to Tony D, dude. My PC issues are like gone. I haven't had like anything bad happen in a while, which is really interesting. Custom built PC. You do not need any. I oftentimes get this question like, Frankie, like, what do you recommend as a good computer to trade on? Dude, you could trade on your phone, man. Like, you do not need any kind of special equipment to trade. You need TradingView, which is literally available on any phone. You could probably look at it on a Nokia. I know you can look at it in a Tesla, which is kind of wild that they let you pull that up while you're driving. It's kind of nuts. Definitely an issue for me. You don't need any kind of special, even if you have a laptop, you could have multiple monitors if you want. You could trade on your phone. Oftentimes, I'm managing my trades and taking my trades on my phone. So, does it help having big screens? Sure. You have more room to move stuff around, but you don't need any like specific hardware. Do I think we'll get any good trading opportunities in the current few hours? I'll just check on Bitcoin for that, just because obviously, listen, I always say if you're learning how to trade, like you pretty much want to stick with Bitcoin for the most part, at least in the beginning, guys, because I made this mistake early on. You'll see a nice setup on, Cardano, say, and then Bitcoin dumps, and you're not keeping an eye on Bitcoin. It's like, what the heck? TA gets stepped in on ADA because Bitcoin decides to dump. So I'm just going to check Bitcoin, obviously, because it's the leader here. But I would say, listen, if you're looking at the local levels here, I'm not going to give a setup here, right? We do this more in the premium Discord, but as of right now, it's like, could we hold this level as support and get a retracement to the upside, which obviously, like I said in the beginning of the stream, could potentially bring us up to about, let's pull from the high to the low here. Yeah, if you go for the full golden pocket retracement, could we hold support here? Sure, I am scalp long from here, but I took this on very low time frame bullish CVD. There's not like a ton of beautiful confirmations. One of the things I was looking at here was the 7-minute money flow crossover potentially coming in at the same time as our 2-hour green dot printing, which is now confirmed. So it's not even really lined up anymore. I'm not telling you to long right now, but I can't tell you to long right now. It's not financial advice. So yeah, I mean, listen. I would say for me personally, for my bigger positions, I am waiting for, this is a small scalp long. Like I said, I am literally short from the tippy top here. So if I take a small loss on this, it's a fraction of the loss as, my short right now is up over $3,000. So if I take a couple $100 a loss on this, it's like whatever. The short will continue to pay me out. But for a bigger, more sound long position, I would be more inclined to wait for this key zone down here at the value area low. Daily, right? If we get down there, right, and again, it's not as easy as just saying like, well, if we come in down here, I'm going to take a long, right? I have to assess price action because, again, I'm holding this short in case it turns into a swing because of the things we mentioned in the beginning of the stream. So if we do come down here, it's like I will be looking for bullish confirmations. If I get them, then I can look to take another scalp long to in anticipation of reclaiming value area low, pushing into the POC, flipping the POC, and potentially coming back up. But if I don't get those confirmations, I'm going to sit on my hands and hold the short from the top, right? And that should be like a chill day. It's like, hey, no trades taken. I'm just holding my short, just prints money for me that day. So, yeah, I would say right now, I don't love taking trades at the POC unless it's a small scalp, in this case, a hedge. Very low risk for me, right? Because of the short and because of the just tight stop loss. So, yeah, there you go. I would probably prefer to wait down towards this bigger level of support for a bigger trade. But, yeah, I would say, like, maybe if we come up to resistance, right, this would be resistance that you could potentially look for a new short at. But, again, you have to see the confirmations. If we get up there, it looks strong, we start flipping out of here, It's really hard. But, yeah, as of right now, I would say this is not the most beautiful setup. Could it play out? Yes. I just wouldn't say it's the most beautiful setup. I took this more as a hedge. And it is up. Long's up about $132. Short is up. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Short is up over $3,000. So we'll see. We'll see. I almost got stopped out there. Super tight stop on that one. But there you go. Let's see. Bada boom. Cryptic Crabman said, only thing Powell is cutting is relationships with political parties. Yo. Oh, God. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Yeah, wild times to be alive. Make sure I didn't miss anything in chat. PT Cruiser was sweet unless you had to back out and look out that tiny back window. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Kelly Kellum. But Cryptic Crabman said that. Kelly says, Trump is supposed to be talking tonight to the nation regarding probably having an impact short term. Yeah, shout out to Kelly. We'll see. Is it going to be bullish news? Is it going to be bearish news? I will say this, guys. Typically, if I had to make a guess here based off the chart, like I will say, again, it's not like we had some massive, nice bullish divergence with money flow cracking into the green. It's not like we had some like massive bullish signal here at key support, in which case maybe we could expect, maybe bullish news out of that. Very, very trying times with all the news. Like one bad thing and we get the nuke to the ground. One good thing, we get the rip to all-time highs. It's absolutely crazy. But again, we're just bing-bonging these charts. Short in the highs, long in the highs, short in the highs, and long in the lows. So we'll see what happens there. But with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream. K Diggity said PT Cruiser minivan for people that would never buy a minivan. Shout out to K Diggity. PT Cruisers are crazy. I haven't seen a PT Cruiser in quite some time. Let's see. Shout out to Giga Longbottom said, do you ever get to a point where you just max leverage every time? Shout out to Giga Longbottom. No, not really. I mean, I do have degen accounts, and to be quite honest with you guys, the degen accounts get really exciting and then really disappointing really fast. Like, even for me, right? It just goes to show, like, the success in trading really comes from discipline, having a plan, and following it. Obviously, you have to understand the charts and everything as well. But yeah, I would never recommend just max leveraging everything. And even when you guys see me in a high leverage situation or a high leverage trade, that does not necessarily mean that I am risking a lot more money. It just means that I'm putting less margin on that trade, and I had to jack up the leverage to get the position size I wanted, right? So when you raise your leverage, it makes you put up less of your own money, obviously, right? Because you're borrowing the money from the exchange. So, when you're using high leverage in a sound trading situation, if you're using 50x or 5x, you shouldn't be if you're using 50x, you should never be at a point where you're going to get liquidated for your whole account. Right, the one time where I will use higher leverage and just put less margin, meaning my own money on the trade, is when I have a very tight stop loss. If I have a very, very tight stop loss, I'll just jack up I don't want to say just jack up the leverage, but if I want to keep some of my margin to maybe open positions on other stuff, and I have a trade that has a super tight stop loss, then I can use a little bit of higher leverage, right? And then the stop loss is so tight that I'm not going to just get liquidated for my whole account. You should not be using leverage as a way to if you're ever entering a trade on leverage with no stop loss, and you have if you ever get liquidated, you have to take full responsibility for that. And shout out to Gigalon, but I'm not saying you do this, but just in general, when you take a leverage trade, if you get liquidated, it is 100% avoidable, right? And the way you avoid that is by setting a stop loss. And if you're not setting stop losses, it means you do not have a trading plan, and it means you are 100% gambling. Can you win at gambling sometimes? Yes. If you stay long enough, you will lose all your money, though. It's more about managing the risk and sticking with your plan and having a plan in general. That's what makes you money over time. So, yeah. Very rarely, on my DGen account, I don't even share that stuff, right? Because I don't want to teach bad practices. And to be honest, I don't even really do it that much. And the reason I don't like to do it that much is because even me, right? If I just start degenning out, right? I could start to fall into really bad habits, and it could leak into my real trading. So yeah, a quick answer to that question is pretty much no. Never, really. Maybe once in a blue moon, I'll kind of make... I'll take a degenerate trade or something. But I honestly, even my degen trades are pretty conservative and well-planned compared to gambling. But there you go. He said, I have yet to leverage trade. I am a CandleMafia sponge still. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. Let's go. So, dude, when you get into actually loading up an account, feel free to ask questions because I can really help you avoid the disaster. Everybody always says leverage trading is gambling. Leverage trading is only gambling if you don't set a stop loss, right? Because, again, if you don't have a stop loss, it's a 50-50 shot, right? You're either going to win the trade or you're going to lose all your money. When you use a stop loss and you're actually managing your risk, right? This is the whole point of risk management, right? If you take 5 trades, right? We'll say it's a 6 risk to reward, right? If you take 5 of these trades and you lose 1, small loss, lose 2 in a row, small loss, this one hits partial TP, and then this one hits full. This one gets stopped out, and then this one hits final TP and runs. These tiny little losses, you're going to make that money back. You can lose these 3 trades in a row, and then these winners can make up for those losses, right? The whole point is to have a good risk-to-reward ratio. When you're trading without a stop loss, it is 50-50, right? It's either you are going to win your trade or you're going to lose everything. That is gambling. Right, but leverage trading, if you ever hear someone say leverage trading is gambling, they just don't know what they're talking about, right? And I mean that respectfully. It's just a fact, right? It's people who will just crank 100x leverage, no stop loss. It's I either win or I lose. That's gambling for sure. You could totally turn it into gambling, but what we do is we use leverage as a tool, right? Really, honestly, it's more of a risk management tool. And I have a video. If you guys check out the beginner series, I have some the only leverage trading tutorial you'll ever need to see, and I explain all this, right? I'm not a fan of holding all my money on one exchange, right? Or an exchange in general, right? Obviously, that's risky. Exchanges can get hacked, no matter what the exchange is, right? Exchanges can go insolvent, right? There's so many things that can happen. You don't always want to hold all your money on an exchange. So what leverage allows you to do is I don't have to hold $100,000 in my account to take really big position sizes, right? So in a way, you're kind of managing the risk, not with the you are managing risk with the trades, but it kind of manages the risk because I don't have to hold a ton of money on my exchange. If something happens at that exchange or something, I'm not going to lose my life savings or how even whatever I want to put in that account. By using leverage, I can limit the amount of money I have to hold in that one spot, which is nice. But yeah, check out that video if you guys want to know it's literally the only leverage trading tutorial you ever need to see, and I explain why leverage trading is not gambling. You can turn it into gambling, but it doesn't have to be that way. So there you go. You're the best. Even though I know better, you always help me with my FOMO. Thanks, Frankie and Mafia. Have a great night. Shout out to Cryptopher. Columbus. But, guys, with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here. We got the continuation down. We're short from the top. I'm now in that scalp long. We'll see what happens tomorrow. You guys got all the key levels and what I'm anticipating next for Bitcoin. Hopefully that Trump news doesn't get too crazy. Maybe if we really just get a huge move, maybe we'll go live again late tonight. But with all that being said, guys, I'll see you here, same place, same time tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. Shout out to Wix Wi-Fi 89. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Infinite Team TA. Thank you for so much for the super chats, bro. I appreciate you. Shout out to Erica, K Diggity. Let's go. CandleMafia John Cena, Jesse, Supreme Clean, and last but not least, Nick Dunn and Giga Longbottom. Let's go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You know the rest. Same place, same time. All that good stuff. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
K Diggity says, I know what I'm doing tomorrow at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you? Shout out to K Diggity. I feel like I never know what I'm doing at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Did we get 550 likes? If we got 550 likes, oh man, 372. Yikes. You guys want to see some free feet. Anyway, I gotta go polish my toenails and upload some new pics to Feet Finder. But anyway, guys, I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Smash that like button on your way out. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go.
go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out,